I was born in Norwich in 1967, October. My parents were from Hong Kong. Mum was from Canton, which is now called Guangzhou, and Dad was from Satogong. They were just land tenders, basically. They were told that, the streets of England were paved with gold and, it would be easy for them to get a job here. So they decided, three friends decided to get on a boat the first time around and come to England. Originally they set up in London because that's where the majority of the Chinese restaurants were at the time. So Dad's first job was a washer-upper in a restaurant in Hammersmith. You first start off as a dishwasher, then you would get taught some menial cooking skills, so you become the second chef in the kitchen, and then you learn your skill, and then hopefully you'd save enough money in 5 or 6 years to maybe open up your own takeaway or go into partnership with a few friends. So 4 of them got together in London to branch out from London. So I don't know why they picked Norwich, but they maybe because they had a friend or an uncle here at the time. It was kind of strange because when I was growing up, all that I had were my parents and that community, so we were like locked in a Chinese community within England. So when I went to school, I couldn't speak a word of English. So at that time I was put in remedial classes to learn English to catch up with the rest of the group. So being the only Chinese person there, it was really strange because when I first went to school, Dad goes, well, taking you to school, left me there. But all the kids after me, I can still remember to this day, just came and started crying. I go, well, I couldn't speak language, I don't know where I am, why are all these people crying, what are we doing here? So that was that was my first taste of school in Britain. And it was strange because I didn't seem to be worried, but everybody else who came after me seemed worried because maybe they knew what was happening, whereas I didn't. But I really enjoyed school. School was a really fun time, and I grew up basically as a British person, but with Chinese parents, if that makes any sense. But the other thing which was strange was because I've got 7 sisters, I've got a large family, some were still in Hong Kong when Dad came over here. So basically my 3 older sisters were left in Hong Kong while Dad came over to make money, and then Mum joined, and then we had another sister and myself who stayed here, and then they came over later. So I didn't meet my other 3 sisters till I was about 5 or 6. So I had grown-up sisters who came and followed, and then Dad had some more children. So in the end, I've got 7 sisters. So we weren't sort of a family all in one go as a normal family would be put together. So the language thing was the kind of split in my world. So basically, I'd automatically resort to Chinese when speaking to my parents, but go English when I speak to my brothers and sisters, and speaking English when I went to school. At the time, it was difficult for us to learn Chinese because there's so few of us growing up in Norwich. There weren't any Chinese schools, so what we learned was through our parents. So they would enforce us to learn some Chinese, writing and stuff like that. But it was so difficult because they worked so long hours. My dad, used to work from 10 in the morning till midnight every day of the week. So that was the difference that I felt. And to make myself less Chinese, I, embrace everything British. I, joined the rugby team, played rugby for a number of years, loved it, played football, support local teams, support England if they're playing in the World Cup. So I perceive myself as British rather than Chinese. Father set up a takeaway on Anthing Road in 1971 called the Hong Kong Chinese Takeaway, and then 3 years later we opened here. I started here in 1989 and slowly took over the reins of the business probably about 3 years later. Chinese food, since my father started his takeaway, has evolved immensely. His menu has grown sort of probably 3 times from what it used to be. When we were younger, we just used to have basically we used to chip the potatoes by hand, so we had chipped potatoes. My dad had his family recipe curry sauce, so there's basic curry sauce flavors. Those are sort of dishes we had to make up because there weren't the ingredients available in England to make the proper dishes. So instead of just bean sprouts cooked with other things, we made up a dish, well, the Americans actually made it up, called chop suey, which is just bean sprouts with a mixture of meat with some sweet and sour sauce mixed in. And then, you know, the sweet and sour Cantonese style you see on menus now was totally different from when I was younger. So it's basically the takeaway kind of cuisine where you get the large chicken balls with the sweet and sour dip. So basically the takeaway side really hasn't evolved that much because people still like that kind of cuisine, like it's sort of fast food. Whereas the restaurant side has increased and evolved immensely. Like the food here now, this is what you'd get in Hong Kong, where we're from. So I think dim sum has become very popular with the onslaught of the Japanese cuisine, like the sushi and Spanish tapas. This is just like Spanish tapas. To us, we call it a touch of heart, which is what dim sum means. And so it's just a light afternoon snacky meal. So you can order a range of foods and then chat and speak with your friends with tea. The other way of calling it is yum cha, which is to drink tea. So you meet your friends. It's very social. You know, you can be as filling as you like, or you know, as little as you like. You can order a basket or hundreds of baskets, entirely up to your appetite. Multiculturalism has had an effect on the British society, but it's not always been, I perceive as an ethnic minority, it's not been always good because I perceive, because I married English myself, I saw the racism in my culture, and so it has bad sides on both sides. It's good that we've got together, but and we're a family now. But you know, it's not just the British being racist; it's the foreigners being racist as well. So it's good. It hasn't affected me. My children, they think they're different, but it depends on their mood of the day. Sometimes my son will say I'm Chinese, and sometimes my son will say I'm English today. So it's just something they've got in their armoury if they need it. So I think Chinese food has become a part of English culture because you see it everywhere, like in the local supermarkets. There's Chinese supermarkets springing up. You hear people, oh, let's go for a Chinese or a Chinky. You know, it's become in British terminology now. Like, would go for a curry, or you go for a Chinese or a pizza or something. So I think it's ingrained in society now that Chinese food is here to stay.